everyone, you're welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. I am Eunice. In this video I'll be sharing with you how to make this beautiful blouse we have here. It's an armhole princess bustier with an underbust corset, and see, and it also has this nice pleated peplum. You see, and this is what it looks like on the shoulder area. So we have our velvet fabric combined with Ankara. So here on the underbust I have the velvet fabric, and I also have it here on the shoulder as well. Okay, so and this is what it looks like at the back. You can see it has a bishop collar, which is also referred to as a mandarin collar, and it has this V opening in front. So for the back, you can see I went ahead to bead the shoulder area down to this part. This is really a beautiful style to make. And you see, I had to pin this because my client is bigger than my mannequin, but this is a perfect fit. And you see how beautiful everything came out. I also made a beautiful pencil skirt for it with pleated vent. So you can see, if you haven't seen my video on how to create a pencil skirt with pleated vent, this is a must watch. Okay, you're going to learn how to create your pencil skirt with pleated vent, and it will come out really beautiful. So the sleeves, everything is really beautiful. This outfit is a beautiful one. Ankara never goes wrong. So this video is not just going to be one video. I'll have to split it into different parts. If not, it will be too long. So I'll be showing us how to create the upper part. I'll show us how to create the pleated peplum. I'll show us how to create the high-low flared sleeve. You can see it is really beautiful. I'll also be showing us how to create our pencil skirt with pleated vent. Okay, so if this is something you are interested in learning, you want to make sure to hit on the subscribe button to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. So make sure to hit on the subscribe button to subscribe. Ensure you put on your notification bell so you'll be the first to receive a notification every time I upload a new video. And please make sure to share this video, like this video, leave a comment, and if you find this video helpful, make sure to let me know. Okay, so let's get right into the video. For today we're going to be starting with this upper part. So these are the materials we're going to be using for this project. This is 6 yards of Ankara fabric, and then this is satin for our lining. We'll be using this for the lining. And then here I have this velvet fabric. I have 1.5 yards of velvet, and then I have my hasty that I'll be using to create stability on the fabric. And then I also have the wadding, which is also called breast pad. I'll be using this to pad up the bust area. I'll be drafting directly on my pattern paper so that we can see it clearly. Okay, so I have a half scale basic bodice here. So this is our front pattern and this is the back pattern. The first line I have here is the shoulder line, so I'm just going to label it SH. Next I have the chest line, I'll label it CL. And then I also have the bust point line, that's the nipple line, shoulder to nipple point, which is the bust point line, so I'll label it BL. And then here is the underbust line, from shoulder to underbust. This is it here. So I'm going to label it. You need to take your measurements correctly. From shoulder to bust point for this person is 11 inches. Shoulder to underbust is 15 inches. Shoulder to her front half length is 18 inches. So this is the front half length, which is 18.5, not 18 inches, please. 18.5. So this is front half length. So I'll label this waistline. And then this is the back. The first line is the shoulder line. Second is the chest line. So you can see both the front and back chest line are aligned. So this is the chest line and I've labeled it. And then we don't have a bust at the back, so I don't need the bust line, neither do I need the underbust line. All I have here now is the back waistline. And the back waistline is 16.5 inches. You can see where it stops. So this is waistline for the back is 16.5 inches. The front half length and the back half length are not the same because we have our bust in front, and the difference for this client is 2 inches. So that is why I marked on 16.5 inches. And then you can see that this is our center back line. So we label this part CB, center back line, and this is center front, CF. Okay, I also have this line here, which is the bust span line, and that's the nipple to nipple, the distance from one bust to the other, and it is 8 inches. So I marked half of it here because we are drafting half of the front and half of the back. So whenever you see this mark, just know that what your pattern is on fold. Okay, so this front piece is on fold, the back also is on fold. This is half of the back and half of the front. So next I'm just going to go ahead and do my dart intake. I'll be doing a dart intake of 1.1 inch on both sides of the dart line. But let me explain to us a very easy way to know what to do, what to use as your dart intake. Now this is it. The bust measurement I'm working with is 42 inches. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So I write down 10.5 here. And then the underbust measurement I'm working with is 33 inches. So 33 divided by 4 is 8.25. Okay? So I'm going to say 10.5 minus 8.25. And that gave me 2.25. So you can see that this person's bust is quite bigger than the underbust. Okay, so now this will help me to know how much tightening I should do. So I have a difference of 2.25, so I can go ahead and do 100% tightening, which is 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side. Okay, so on the waistline I'm going to do a dart intake of 1 inch here, and then I'm going to do a dart intake of 1 inch on this side as well. So from the bust point line I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I'll go ahead and connect to this point. Can you see? So this is our dart legs. So having done this, next I'm going to enter the bust measurement divided by 4. So the bust measurement divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'll mark 10.5 here. I'll skip the underbust and come down to the waistline. The waist measurement divided by 4. I also have a waist measurement of 34 inches. So 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. So here's our dart intake. I'm going to replace back the dart, which is 2 inches. So having marked that 2 inches, I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. Can you see? So you can see I connected from the waistline to the bust line. So now we're going to tighten the underbust. So to tighten the underbust, first I'm going to enter the underbust measurement divided by 4. The underbust measurement is 33 inches, so divided by 4 is 8.25. So this is where our 8.25 ends. So I'm just going to measure everything I have left here from this point, the remainder. I have 2.25. Okay, that's 2 inches and quarter. Okay, so I'll be using that 2 inches and quarter to tighten the underbust. So to do that, on this side I'm going to mark. Now you can distribute, you can divide it into 3 equal parts. We already have 2.25, so 2.25 divided by 3, and I have 0.75. So I'm going to mark 0.75 on the center part, and then on the side I'll mark the remaining. So which is 3/4 of an inch. So I'll mark 3/4 of an inch here, and then here I'm going to mark the remaining 1 1/4 inch. Take note of what I did. I marked it after the dart leg, so that's our tightening. I'm marking after the dart leg. So here I've done my 100% tightening. So this bustier will come out very well, and this person can wear it even without a bra. So I'll go ahead and connect the points. So I'm connecting from underbust to the waistline. You can see how it just goes. And then for this side, can you see that if I have to take this line this way, you'll notice that the line is slanted. So to avoid that slantiness, I'm just going to take it straight. Can you see? So I took it down straight. So this has now increased the dart I have here on this side. So I'm just going to measure the increment I have here. I have 1/2 inch. I'll return back that 1/2 inch to the side here. You want to make sure that whatever it increases here, please return it back. So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. So now reconnect from waistline to the bust line, just like I did before. Can you see? So now this is now our new side line, so we're not working with this line anymore. So having done that, next I'm going to connect the cuff. So to do that, I'll bring in my armhole cuff and connect from this underbust point to this 1 inch point I have here. And then I'll also do the same thing on this side. So you want to make sure that the armhole curve is touching the 1 inch and also touching the underbust point. Okay, so now we have tightened the underbust. So we're making an armhole princess bustier. So first I'll come here to the armhole. This is our armhole from the shoulder slant to the chest line. This is our armhole line. I'll get the midpoint by folding my tape into two like this, and here exactly is our midpoint. So from this midpoint, I will come down by 3/4 of an inch. So this depends on the bust size you are working with. So if you are working with a smaller size, you can do 1/2 inch on this side. You can see that after dividing our dart intake, I got 0.75. So I'm marking the same 0.75 here so that you can tighten the armhole properly. Okay, so from this mid part, I came down by 3/4 of an inch. So I'll bring in my armhole curve and connect these points like this. So I'm connecting it to the bust point. Can you see? And then the dart intake I came down by, which is 3/4 of an inch, I'll also connect it to the bust point like this. Can you see? So this dart intake, I'm going to replace it back here at the side of the armhole. You want to make sure to replace it back. So the armhole will extend this way. So I'm just going to extend it this way. And then next, I'm going to measure what I have here. Everything I have here, I have about 3 inches here. So I'll extend this armhole outward with 2 inches. So now this is our side piece. It now means that this is the armhole we're going to be working with on this side, and then for the center piece, this is the armhole we're going to be working with on this side. If you don't extend this side piece, you're going to have a big shortage when you are joining them together. So that's why I'm extending from the armhole upwards by 2 inches. So I'll take it this way, and then I will connect. You see, so this is now the new armhole for the side, and then this is the armhole we're working with for the center piece. So next I'm going to enter the bust dart. But before entering the bust dart, I'm going to connect from bust line to chest line like this. Can you see how it looks? So I connected it out this way. So the bust dart is the difference between the front and the back half length, and you can see it here is exactly 2 inches. So I'm going to mark that 2 inches from the bust point line. So from the bust point line, I'm coming down by 2 inches. And I'll connect it here to the nipple to nipple line, which is the bust fan line. Next, I'll get the midpoint of it. So here is the midpoint. And then I'll go out by 3/4 of an inch. So I'll connect it. This is just to indicate that we have a dart here, so that by the time we close our dart, whatever point that shifts, we'll be able to blend it off. You see? So that's just basically it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the front neckline. I'll be working with a neckline, a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of same 3 inches. So I'll connect the points like this. And this neckline will have a V shape, a small V shape in front. So to do that, here on the base of the neckline, I will go in by 1/2 inch. And then I will come down by 2.5 inches. And then I'll use my armhole curve to connect it like this. Just connect with a slanted line this way. So this is what our neckline looks like. Can you see? So now the next thing we're going to do is to create that underbust corset that we're going to have. Okay? So this is the underbust line, this is the waistline, and this is the bust line. So from this side, already this side is straight. So from this side is where I'm going to be creating my curve. So I'll use a different color of pen so that we can see it clearly. Okay, so to create the underbust corset effect, so this is our chest line here. You can see this is the chest line. From the chest line, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. Can you see? I'm coming in by 1 inch and I marked it here at this side. So I will bring in my armhole curve. I'm going to use my pencil to draw broken lines first to be sure that I'm comfortable with what I have before I can now use my marker. You see? So I think I'm okay with what I have. So you can see how it just goes, okay? So I'll bring in my marker pen and then connect the points like this. You can see, so this is what this side will look like. And then let's also highlight this line, because this is this part. Can you see? So the whole of this part is the underbust corset. So this part we're going to have our velvet fabric. So let's label this part V. Okay, so this is the V part. And then we'll also come here to the shoulder. Remember that we also had the velvet fabric on the shoulder area. So on the shoulder line, I will come down by 2.5 inches from the shoulder line. I'll mark it here also, the neckline. Then I'm going to use my ruler to connect it this way. So this part, I'm also going to label this V, because this part is also going to be the velvet, and here too will be the velvet. Okay, so now we are done with the front pattern. So we'll go ahead and cut out the front pattern before we can treat the back. So starting from this point, we don't need this part. This is not part of our measurement, so we'll cut it out. So we'll take out the neckline. So we'll take out the So now we're going to close the bust dart. So to close the bust dart, this is the bust dart line. Can you see? So I'm just going to fold it like this, and then I'll place it over the bust point line. Can you see that by closing the bust dart, can you see that all the points have shifted? You can see my red marker has shifted. So I'm just going to tape this down and reblend all the points. So I'll bring in the armhole curve again and then reblend it. So make sure to reblend all the points that shifts. So here it is. So now this is it here. And then you can also see that the side too, the part that shifted, I'm going to reblend it up as well. Can you see? So now I can go ahead and cut out. So this is the new armhole we're working with on the side. So I will cut it out like this. And then I'll take out the excess we don't need. So can you see that by closing the bust dart, can you see that the side front and the side back are matching up? You can see this is our chest line and this is the waistline. You can see they are matching up because the difference between the front and back has been taken out. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and cut out this shape. I'm going to extend it into the armhole this way so that we can cut it out. So I'm cutting out on this line like this. Okay, so this is what I have here, and this is it here. So because this is going to be our velvet fabric, we'll also have to cut this just like we have cut the side. So we'll cut it out as well. So now we have this tube this way, and you can see we now have the upper part. Okay, so we don't necessarily have to cut this separately. We can just place our fabric on fold and cut this as one piece. So you can see the dart has been taken out, so it will give us that fitting that we want to have here. So I'm just going to tape this down so that I can cut it as one piece, so I can cut it on fold so that I don't have to have joining here. So we'll just tape it down this way. So we now have it as a piece. Okay, so this is what our front piece looks like. So we're not cutting out this part. Yes, let's leave it so that we can draft the back. First I'm going to mark the bust span line, which is the nipple to nipple, and half of it is 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches here, and I'll mark 4 inches here. So I'll go ahead and connect the points. And then I'm going to do a dart intake. I'll be doing a dart intake of 1/2 inch here at this side and 1/2 inch also. So I'll go ahead and connect the points like this. Okay, so next I'm going to enter the bust measurement divided by 4, which I already have here because that's where the armhole stops. And see, And then the waist measurement divided by 4 is 8.5 plus our dart intake of 1 inch. So I'll return back that 1 inch here. And then I'll go ahead and connect this way. You see? So this is it. So next I'm going to tighten the back to eliminate any form of zipper bulge. So you can see that I have my zip allowance here, which is 1 inch. So now to tighten the back, this is our center back line. On this center back line, I will go in by ½ inch. On the waistline here, I'm going in by ½ inch. Then I'll go ahead and connect from the waistline to the shoulder line. So you can see that we are going to throw away this. This is so that our back can be tight and the zipper will not fold at the back. So now this is now the new center back line. This is the new CB. So we'll cancel this. So now from this new center back line that is no longer straight, I'm going to measure the zip allowance. And I'll be working with a zipper allowance of 1¼ inch. So I'll mark 1¼ inch following this line. So 1¼ inch, 1¼ 1¼ 1¼ 1¼ So you can now see that this is now our zip allowance. You can see, so it's not straight. So I'm just going to label this ZA. So these are zip allowance. So I would also extend the waistline outward this way. Okay? So next I'm going to mark the neck depth. This outfit is going to have a collar. So I just need a neck depth of ½ inch at the back. So I'm marking a neck depth of ½ inch, and the neck width is the same as the front, which is 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect it this way. So just place the curve correctly, and then this is it. So I'll extend it into the zip allowance. Okay? So now, remember that we also have the velvet fabric also at the back. So this 2.5 inches, not 3 inches. It's 2.5. So this 2.5 inches line I have here, I'm also going to mark it at the back. I'll also come down from this part by same 2.5 inches. So it just goes straight, even up to this point. Can you see? So I'm going to connect it this way. So this is going to be the velvet fabric. This part is the part that will have the beads on it, okay? So that's it. And then I'm just going to extend it into the zip allowance this way. So that's basically it for the back. So we'll go ahead and cut it out. So this part now is going to be the velvet fabric. So we'll cut this out. And then I'll also do the same thing for the front here too. So this is what we have here. So these are velvet fabric, and then this is the down part for the front. You can see. So this is what our front piece will look like by the time we join them together. So we have this one here, this way like this, and then we have this. So you can see this is what our back is. So this is velvet and this is Ankara. This is velvet, Ankara, and then velvet. So that's about the drafting of the front and the back piece. So I'm going to transfer to fabric and add all the necessary allowances. So on this side here, on the side, I'll add 2 inches as my sewing allowance and add ½ inch on this side. I will do the same thing on this side. I'll add ½ inch, but this will be cut on fold. So this will be cut on fold. So let's create this shape here to indicate that I'll be cutting this on fold. And then also this tiny V shape, we're going to cut this out. You can see? So we're cutting this part out like this. So this is what we're going to have. Okay? So I'll add my sewing allowance of ½ inch, and here is on fold. Then here on fold, I'll add my 2 inches sewing allowance here, and then add ½ inch on this side. For the back, I'll be adding my sewing allowance of 2 inches on the side, ½ inch on this side, ½ inch on this side. For the velvet, I'll add ½ inch at the upper part, that's at the down part here, and also ½ inch at the upper part. I'll do the same thing for the front. So I'll cut them out and show us what we have. So I've gone ahead to cut the main fabric and the lining as well. So this is our side piece, and this is our center piece, you can see. On the main fabric, I ironed hasty and I also ironed the breast part, which is called wadding. And then on the lining, I ironed paper stick. And see? And then this is the center piece. I ironed pad to it. And I also ironed hasty and paper stick to the lining. You can see our lining. So these are the shoulder area. Remember that we cut out the shoulder area that I said I was going to have suede there, or velvet fabric, okay? You can see. So I also cut the lining for this part, and I ironed paper stay on the lining, hasty on the main fabric. I did the same thing here as well. And then this is the down part, which is the underbust corset. You can see I also ironed hasty to the main fabric. I actually doubled my hasty on the velvet. On all the parts I have velvet, I doubled the hasty so that it doesn't stretch out. And then you can see the lining, I also ironed paper stay. So this is our back piece as well. You can see hasty, paper stay on the lining, and then the shoulder area that I have suede on. That's our velvet fabric, you can see them. And then this is the lining for the shoulder area as well. Okay, so now it's now time for us to start sewing. So to start stitching, this is what I'm going to do. These are two side pieces. You will notice that the pad did not get to the end, and also on this side. This is because this half inch I added here is for joining the underbust corset. So now I'll take this to my sewing machine and I'll place it this way. Can you see? This is how they are supposed to be. So right side facing right side. Let's pin it this way. And then I'll take this to my sewing machine and then stitch. Can you see how I'm going to curve it out? So make sure that I'll make sure I'm stitching it this way, following the curved shape I have. And see? So I'll follow the shape. So I'll stitch it this way. So after stitching, I'm going to have something like this. You can see that this is pinned, so not giving us the shape yet. So I'll stitch it. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. And then I'll repeat the same thing on my lining, give it a good press and show us the next thing to do. Here's our bustier. As you can see, I've joined them together and I've pressed the seam lines open, and I also pressed on the right side. So you can see everything is sitting very beautiful. Can you see? For the lining, it's also sitting very well, even though the lining does not have the pad. And you can also pad on your lining. Exactly what I have done on the main fabric, you can do that on the lining, especially if you're working with a lightweight fabric. You can see. So can you see our lining sitting well? And then this is the one with the pad, is also sitting very well. So the next thing I'm going to do is to reshape the armhole. Remember that our armhole has an excess. Can you see? So our armhole is not well shaped. So I'm going to reshape the armhole. A very simple way to do it is to just remember that the shoulder measurement we're working with is 16 inches. So 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches plus half inch for joining allowance. So that's 8.5. But remember that this is the mid part where we usually go in by 3/4 of an inch in order to avoid any gathering around the armhole area. So if we have 8.5 inches minus 3/4 of an inch, that will leave us with 7 3/4. So I'm going to be reducing the armhole to that 7 3/4 around this side. Take note that I'm taking my measurement from the center front. Fold. Can you see? So this is where our 7 3/4 stops at this point. So I'm just going to reshape the armhole. So I'll bring in the scissors and then cut out the excess. Okay, so here is the actual armhole. You can see what we have right now. You see, everything is coming out very well. So now that we have our armhole, the next thing we're going to do is to place the velvet fabric. And you see that by the time we place the velvet fabric, everything will now be complete. You can see that the remaining part of the armhole is coming from here. You see? So now I'll go ahead and notch the center. And since it's notched, I'll also notch the center of the bustier. After notching the center, I'm going to place them like this, right side facing right side. And then I'll pin. So I'll pin towards the left and also pin towards the right. So I'm done pinning. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch. It is advisable to stitch from the side that has the bustier so that you can stitch it well. Can you see how I'm keeping it? So I'm going to stitch it this way and then stitch this side this way. It will make it easier for you instead of stitching from the velvet fabric and you are then struggling to arrange it. So just stitch it this way, like this. Okay, so I will repeat the same thing on the lining and also reshape the armhole like I did for the main fabric, and then I'll come back and show you the next thing to do. Okay, so this is our bustier. You see, after stitching the underbust corset part, it's coming out really beautiful. I also went ahead to press the seam lines. You can see I notched the curved areas. Just notch it so that it can really relax and then give it a very good press. And here we are. You can see how beautiful our bustier is. For the lining, I did the same thing. I notched the seam lines and then pressed the seam lines open. Okay, so then this is what we're going to do. You can see now, right side of the lining facing right side of the fabric. I'm going to stitch just the V neckline because we're going to have a collar on the neckline, so there's no need turning the neckline. So I'm just going to stitch just the V neckline, and then I will go ahead and stitch the sides and stitch the side. I'm basically turning the side, okay? So I'll go do that. And then for our back piece, I'm also going to place it right side facing right side. And then I'm going to turn the center back. Just turn the center back and the side here. I won't be turning the neckline because we're going to have a collar on the neckline, so there's no need turning the neckline. So I will repeat exactly the same thing on the other side of our back piece. You can see this is the other side. So right side facing right side as well. So I'm going to also turn the center back and then this side. So I'll go do all that. Okay, so we are done with the bustier part. As you can see, our cup is really sitting very well. Everything looks very beautiful. So by tightening the underbust correctly, you're going to have your cup area. You're going to have your bustier sitting perfectly, just like this one. You can see that this bustier can be worn with or without a bra, and everything will sit really beautiful. So to achieve these beautiful cups I have here, you just have to make sure to tighten the underbust correctly. So once you tighten your underbust correctly, you're going to have your bustier sitting perfectly, just like the one we have here. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share this video with your friends, and do not hesitate to hit on the subscribe button to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And also ensure to put on your notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. In my next video, we're going to be treating the pleated peplum. Okay? I hope we enjoyed this video. just as much as I enjoyed this making this video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.